Alrighty, ladies and gents, welcome to the show. I am down here in New South Wales on Christmas holiday, so I'm not in the studio, but it is time to talk about the main event of Armfights 4.0. We are, of course, talking about the big match between Australia's 100 kilo champion Brett Coots and the USA's champion Dan Mosier. Daniel Mosier is on a roll right now. We've just seen him pull not only at Armfights Unleashed 3.0, where he looked good. He beat myself 6-0. He also won the 220-pound tournament that day, beating Anthony Lowe in the final. But he's just recently competed in Louisiana once again, defeating names as big as Brian Sitton in the open heavyweight category. So no one doubts the side pressure capability and the speed of Daniel Mosier. He is probably one of the most ferocious out of the blocks arm wrestlers, particularly around that 200 to 220 pound category. The ability for him to just get through people before they even turn their muscles on is something that holds him totally different from everybody else in the professional arm wrestling scene. His side pressure is amazing, and he has the sufficient hand control to back up his side pressure. Very interesting when you contrast him with Australia's Brett Coots. Now, Brett Coots is somebody that is largely unknown to the rest of the world. He has finished in the top 10 in the World Championships at the WAF a few years ago, but he was relatively new to the sport then. He's been in the sport for about 6.5 years now, I believe, and he is very dominant in the Australian scene. At the 100 kilo category, he really does stand alone. Danny Tesh is the only person that could probably challenge him, although they are yet to meet in an official capacity, so we don't yet know who would win. But Brett Coots, let me just say, he is an absolute titan when it comes to stopping power. And of course, this is why this match is so interesting. Brett Coots is someone that can, if he gets any degree of his wrist bent, any degree, he will not lose. If he is flat, he's still incredibly difficult to pin. The only way that he can be pinned is if his wrist and hand are taken. So the only way that I can see Brett Coots being pinned is if his wrist is taken. Now, of course, the question, can Dan Mosier take Brett Coots' wrist? Look, 100% he can. I've felt both of these gentlemen in the last 3 to 4 months. Okay, I recently took on Brett Coots down in Victoria at the Victorian State Titles only a few months ago, and he beat me. He beat me quite convincingly. I got into the match. I'm faster than Brett Coots, so it allowed me to get a hit away. But once he stopped it and I didn't flatten his wrist, he got his cup. It was very much one-way traffic. The other thing about Brett Coots is he is incredibly durable in a match. Over 6 rounds, we're going to see this man's endurance really come to the forefront. He is one of those people that if he stops a match, he very rarely loses. In fact, I don't really think that I can remember a match where he stopped the hit and subsequently lost. If that man stops a hit, he will go on and win. Now, Dan Mosier is someone who focuses largely out of straps. He does tremendously well when he's in the straps, but he is someone who likes to, I guess, hit through his opponents before his opponents gain stability in a match. Brett Coots traditionally doesn't need straps either. He is someone who just uses his incredibly strong hand strength to just turn people in. So it's really a match that could go either way. Now, let's look at who these guys have pulled in the past and where we think they're actually going to be. Dan Mosier, as I said, has just recently pinned Brian Sitton. He's pinned me. He's got good wins over people like Storm Chelino. He has some big runs on the board. He has had absolute matches with many people. I think he's got a win over Craig Touye at the Arnold's Classic. There's lots of things that Dan Mosier has done, and I don't think anyone anywhere is doubting the caliber of Dan Mosier when it comes to his ability to pin people. I believe he's ranked number 2 on In the Hook rankings for the 195 pounds. Brett Coots, his biggest win is Ron Barth. It was on the left arm. Ron Barth very much dominated Ron on the left. And on the right, he lost to Ron, but was there in the match. And it wasn't a total whitewash. So it's very interesting looking at who Brett has faced, who Dan has faced, and how this is going to go. What is my prediction? My prediction for this match is that it will go 4-2 to Brett. I believe Dan Mosier will win the first 2 rounds. His speed out of the blocks, his side pressure, it's different. It's a different angle. And Brett Coots is going to struggle outside of straps in those first couple of rounds to know how to catch that hit. I think that hit and just the ferocity of that hit is something that really gets Dan's wins, even against guys that are stronger than Dan. Now, do I believe Brett Coots is stronger than Dan? Yes, Brett Coots is stronger than Dan. I've watched Brett Coots pull with Devon Larratt deep in a hook and be able to hold Devon Larratt. I've watched Brett Coots absolutely hang with Lars Rabakin. He can pull with giants. Now, what is the weight category for this? Okay, both guys are walking around in that 210 to 220 pound class. I know Dan Mosier just competed at 198. He's going to be back up to that 210 for this match. I believe right now Brett Coots is at 215. So Brett is one of those guys that looks a lot bigger than he actually is on the scales, and he can get down to 210, no worries at all. He actually competed as low as 195 when it was at the World Championships a few years ago when he finished in the top 10. So this match is going to be an outstanding match. It is the main event, and I can't wait to get a few interviews with these guys and hear a little bit more about how they're preparing, because this is a really big opportunity for Dan to just continue the run that he's on, but it's also a huge opportunity for Brett to establish himself. Now, what I would like to say is that I believe the winner of this match deserves to have a crack at one of the European elites. I haven't got any confirmations yet as to exactly who it would be, but I'm talking about people like Krasimir Kostadinov. I would love to see the winner of this match up against a Krasimir Kostadinov. So I think that on the right hand is great. On the left hand, look, people like Brett Coots is already ready. This match is not going to happen on left. This is very much just a right hand match between Dan Mosier and Brett Coots. But anyway, winner gets Krasimir Kostadinov. That works for me in my books for an Armfights Unleashed, maybe 6.0 or 7.0 later this year. Who knows? But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that episode. I really did, and I can't wait for this match. Share it as far and wide as you can with everyone you know for me. That'd be amazing. We're going to get a killer turnout in Sydney. If you're in Sydney, or if you're in Australia, actually. If you're an Australian arm wrestler, you want to be at this event. If you're a Sydney, if you just live in Sydney, and even if you're not an arm wrestler, you want to turn up because it's going to be killer. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a Merry Christmas. I will see you guys again real soon. And I can't thank you guys enough for everything that you're doing in terms of the support. All right, guys. See ya.